this passage is also false.
Correct.
Can we then go to a further part of General Sibiya's evidence? Now he's talking about the Thanksgiving celebration or the function for his son on the 14th of September 2024. And his evidence was that when he asked you to ask Kat to make a turn, he was asking you to ask Kat not to come to his Thanksgiving celebration, but rather to fetch his wife who was drunk. Is that correct?
At which page are you now?
I'm at page 1281.
Thank you.
And you can see the record of what General Sibiya says in his statement is not complete in its quotation there, but his version in his statement and indeed in his evidence was that he didn't want Mr. Matlala to attend the function. He wanted Mr. Matlala to fetch his wife who was drunk. And that's why he asked you to ask Kat to make a turn. Is that correct?
That is his vision, but to me, he never stated that. He just said, tell Kat to make a turn, and I did that.
So he never communicated to you that he needed Kat to come to the function to pick up his wife who was drunk?
I don't recall him saying that.
If we go to page 1306,
(1306).
1306. And if you start at at line 15, Ms. Hasim says, okay, and this is about the Matlala urgent application and the exchange of WhatsApps between yourself and General Sibiya in relation to that urgent application and what Mr. Matlala had said about General Sibiya. So Advocate Hasim says, so the content of this message to you is about Mr. Matlala naming you in the court documents? Yes. Why did you forward it to Sgt Nkosi? I might have to say, look what this man is saying, and it's not true. Did you have any conversation with Sgt Nkosi about it? No, he says. When he says he never discussed with you what Mr. Matlala had said in his affidavits in the urgent application, is that true or false?
Can you repeat that question, Commissioner?
When he says that he never discussed what Mr. Matlala discussed with you, what Mr. Matlala's affidavit in the urgent application said about him, is he being truthful or untruthful?
Untruthful.
Can we then go to page 1292?
here.
There you'll see that Advocate Hassim at around line 15 says, you would agree that it is improper for Sgt Nkosi to be sending this to Mr. Matlala, and he's talking about the warrant for the arrest of Mr. Khawula. So the question is put to to General Sibiya, would you agree that it's improper for Sgt Nkosi to be sending the warrant for Mr. Khawula's arrest to Mr. Matlala? And the answer is, fully agree, says General Sibiya. Did General Sibiya ever communicate to you that he thought it was improper for you to have forwarded the warrant of arrest to Mr. Matlala?
No?
Sorry, Mr. Skalson. In fact, you said when you testified previously that it was General Sibiya who instructed you to forward it to Mr. Matlala, correct?
I still confirm.
Thanks.
So can I, just picking up from Commissioner Khumalo's question, that is put specifically to General Sibiya at page 1288. Line 18, and it's from Commissioner Khumalo. When Sgt Nkosi says to this commission, you told him to forward the same warrant to Kat Matlala, you're saying Sgt Nkosi is lying, he's not telling the truth. Did I understand you correctly? And Lieutenant General Sibiya says yes. And he then repeats that 2 pages down.
Sorry, Mr. Skalson.
1298.
Thank you.
Line 18.
129.
1298. Did I say 1288?
Yes.
I apologize. 1298. Let's do it again. If you go to 1298, line 18.
Okay.
When Sgt Nkosi says to this commission, you told him to forward the same warrant to Kat Matlala, you're saying Sgt Nkosi is lying, he's not telling the truth. Did I understand you correctly? And General Sibiya says yes. And if you can read that with 1300, where your evidence is put to General Sibiya, line 7, on our way we received a call from General Sibiya telling me that I must forward this warrant to Mr. Matlala to General Sibiya. Mr. Matlala and his security company always have the provision where Musa usually goes on the weekends. Now, do you stand by that evidence?
That's correct.
And it was General Sibiya who told you that Mr. Matlala will know where Musa goes on the weekends.
That's correct.
And lower down, you see that in 252, so let me not misquote anybody. I've read it for you. This is the reason Sgt Nkosi gave us the instruction that was coming from you, and he says, I deny the allegations made by Sgt Nkosi. It is not correct, Chair. So is Lieutenant General Sibiya giving false evidence when he makes that denial on page 1300, and when he says on page 1298 that you were lying when he said that he told you to forward the warrant to Mr. Matlala?
Maybe he forgot, but according to me, he did give me that instruction.
Then in relation to your evidence, let's start on 1294, line 20, so that you can see your evidence. Your evidence was, after 45 minutes, I received again a call from General Sibiya telling me that, or confirming to me about what already General Ramangwa had said to me, that this is a matter of importance. The person involved there did not mention who he was, but he mentioned to me he's getting pressure from head office. Head office, the office of the Deputy Minister, is getting pressure from them. I then asked Deputy National Commissioner, what's so important about this charge? Because according to me, there's no sense of urgency. He said this guy insulted a member of parliament. He told me now the member that that he created a crime against is Fikile Mbalula, the secretary of the ANC. The other is Mr. Z. So basically, they were the complainants. So this matter was putting him under pressure. That's the reason we had to leave everything and attend to it. So at 1296, lines 18 to 20, he says, Sgt Nkosi at his level, he's 5 levels below me, 5. He'll never ask me a question that says, what's so important about this thing? What's your response to that?
That's not true.
You're saying it's not true.
No, that's not true.
Have you asked him on other occasions what's so important about a particular operation?
Many occasions.
Many occasions.
Yes.
And then on 1297,
Before you leave that, Advocate Chaskalson, still on the same point, 1295.
1295.
Remember, Advocate Chaskalson read the quotation, and then where General Sibiya responds, he says, I think, Chair, that I must tell you that Mr. Nkosi is not telling the truth. Do you see that?
That is 1295.
Yes, 1295 from line 18.
Okay.
So you see, remember Advocate Chaskalson read the quotation for you?
Yes.
And then General Sibiya is asked to respond. So the question is, what is your response to this? Your response to this? And General Sibiya says, I think, Chair, that I must tell you that Mr. Nkosi was not telling the truth. Do you see that?
That's correct.
What is your response to that?
I've got no reason to lie about General Sibiya.
So it is General Sibiya who's not being truthful.
To put it in a respectful manner, I'll say maybe he forgot.
Okay.
then on 1297, line 11, all I'm saying is I don't remember calling Nkosi specifically and say I have pressure from the Deputy Minister. It never happened. What's your response to that?
When you called, I was with Captain Zungu in a vehicle, and General Sibiya was on speaker. I still maintain my words. He said that.
And Captain Zungu would confirm that?
That's correct.
While we're on the saga of the arrest of Mr. Khawula, when you testified in February, you said you weren't aware of Z's surname. You said Z was one of the complainants, but you didn't know his surname. Do you stand by that evidence?
Can you repeat that?
When you testified in February, you said that there were 2 complainants. One was Mr. Mbalula, and the other one was Z.
That's correct.
And you knew Z, but you didn't know his surname.
I was not sure about his surname.
Okay. You weren't sure about his surname?
Yes, but I knew him. This is what I said.
Yes. Are you now sure about his surname?
That's correct.
And what is his surname?
Mad.
Z's in your phone book, isn't he?
That's correct.
And you communicate with him on WhatsApp.
That's correct.
And what name do you use for him in your WhatsApp communication?
Zenzile EFF.
Zenzile EFF.
That's correct.
Why Zenzile EFF?
This is how I saved him as Zenzile EFF.
But why would you associate him with the EFF in how you save him?
I just felt like that. Zenzile EFF.
Come, Sergeant Nkosi, you must have a reason.
No, Commissioner. That is Zenzile EFF.
I hope I'm not saved in your phone book as
I'll tell
Chaskelson. Why Zenzile EFF?
It's Zenzile EFF. No, I just saved him like that. It's Zenzile EFF.
I see.
But Sergeant, what I sometimes do, say I'm meeting somebody for the first time, and I'm not sure that I would remember their name down the line. What I will do is save the name, but also save something that will remind me of who they are. And when I search and I have indeed forgotten the name, I will search for what I used to remember the person. Surely, it must be because you were doing something similar. And what Mr. Chaskelson wants to know is why your something similar referred to the EFF.
Hey, no, I think Mr. Charleston is pushing me somewhere. I saved him Zenzile EFF because I once saw him wearing an EFF hat.
I see.
Is his full name Zenzile?
I think so, Commissioner. I know him as Z, but I know these Z's, they call him Zenzile.
Or some people call him Zenzile?
That's correct.
For the record, perhaps we should spell Zenzile, because we've seen that the transcript usually misspells some names. Zenzile is Zenzile.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Chaskelson?
What nickname does he use to address you?
00.
00 or 007?
No. 00 or double.
Can I ask you to go to 1177, the same file? 1177.
1177.
Sorry, you said 1177
77.
on the same file.
Same file. Do you have it?
Would just wait for me. Thank you.
Can I ask you to look at chat 2 not chat 2, chat 3, 17 March 2023. There, Mr. Nwalo says 007, and you respond, my man.
I see it.
So he calls you 007, does he not?
Here he called me that.
And we saw last time out that Jerry Kazi and the nephew of former Deputy President Mabuza also called you 007. You remember that?
I remember.
Why do you seem so reluctant to admit that people call you 007?
I think it's because the way you painted the word or the name 007 as in a licensed killer, and you painted this name on a script. acting script that says 007, it's a license to kill person. So I don't want to I don't want to associate myself with a license to kill person, no.
But I think
It
you
was
were,
on those bases.
you're right, I did mention that, but it was only after you showed some reluctance to admit that people call you 007. So your reluctance preceded my reference to license to kill. Who is 007?
I don't know, Commissioner. Who is 007?
You don't know that 007 is James Bond?
Can you repeat that?
You don't know that 007 is James Bond?
Yes, I know. It's James Bond.
And what is James Bond?
It's an actor.
Oh, it's not an actor. The character James Bond. What is that character's profession?
Hey, I don't know because if I don't watch that movie, man.
You've never seen a James Bond movie?
I know. No, Commissioner. No.
You see, James Bond is an undercover agent of military intelligence in Britain with a license to kill. 00 means license to kill. And undercover agent is what James Bond is.
Okay.
So why would people call you 007?
Maybe it will. In my profile there, I've said myself as zero tolerance to crime. So now these people, they take this zero, add another zero, and say 007. This is what I'm saying.
And where